What's good, Winnicott? It's Seth.
And Maddie.
We hope finals went well last week and your spring is off to a good start.
Now, admittedly, the stories in this episode are a little out of date since we haven't had an episode in over a month, and with Try 3 just starting, it's been chaotic with all the new faces.
Chaotic? I think you guys have just been slacking off.
Seth, I look at you all the time during class and you're scrolling on TikTok.
Speaking of TikTok, if you happen to use the app, you may not like this segment. The US government is heavily considering a ban on the TikTok app nationwide, unless the company is sold to another company with no connection to the Chinese government. You guys may remember back in 2020 when Trump tried to ban it, but that executive order got blocked. Now, it's looking like a real possibility. The problem with the app is that it's possible for the Chinese government to use it to collect browsing history and location data on more than 100 million US citizens who use it. While the current owners, ByteDance, have insisted that the data on the app is safe to use, that has not been good enough for the White House and Biden administration. TikTok has already been banned from use in other countries in the past, including India. No deadline has been given on if and when this might happen.
Honestly, I don't know what I would do without TikTok.
Same. What were we talking about?
About how you never get your work on time and submit everything a month late.
Me? Late? I don't know what you're talking about. Anyways, here's my story on the winter season.
Seriously?
I like winter. I think summer's better. I'm more of a fall kind of guy. But like winter's cool. It's a little chilly here.
It's my favorite season.
Man, I love winter. You know, it's a very underrated season, just with the weather and everything. Very underrated.
It's definitely a top 4 season. So
I love winter.
Winter at all?
I love winter.
You love winter?
I love snow.
Excuse me, do you like the winter?
Glasses, Versace, Banana. Got the coat, about 350 on my face. Got the shirt, 350. Got the shoes, about 150.
I feel it.
Yo, no questions.
Yo,
No questions.
who are you?
From what I hear, Winnicott mostly likes winter. But what do they like about it, and what do they like to do?
I like that it's cold out. I like snow. And my birthday's in winter.
Actually, I love the winter. I love to ski. I love winter activities. Yeah, I do like when it snows. I like when it snows a lot, like 3 inches.
I do like winter. I like the snow and the sports.
Favorite things, I like snow, skiing, all winter sports and things like that. And the things I don't like, when I'm working, there's a lot of accidents.
Personally, when it gets as cold as this, I like to get cozy, grab a cup of hot cocoa, put on some Future.
I love cheesecake.
And game.
A common hobby I found among students during the winter is skiing. Skiing is a favorite pastime in New Hampshire. According to the State Director of Tourism, tourists were projected to spend around $1.3 billion in New Hampshire during this year's winter season. Even now, in March and soon April, spring skiing is just as popular. Miss Goupel is a math teacher here at Winnicott who coaches the school's official skiing club. Every January, on each Friday, Miss Goupel and students in the ski club take a bus to Gunstock Mountain right after school ends. There, they can ski and snowboard all afternoon until returning home at around 9:15 at night. Miss Goupel says that the experience has proven popular with students.
Pretty consistently over the last about maybe, other than COVID, 5 to 10 years, we've had about 50 students that fit on a bus that we take up to Gunstock. And now that it's back onto Friday nights, it's a little bit more popular that we have about 50 or 45 that go each week.
Besides the experience of skiing in a group with your peers, a big benefit of joining the ski club is the deals on season passes.
Because the outreach program actually gives you a season pass, you either buy a Monday to Friday season pass or you buy a full season pass. Even though our trips will be over after our 4 trips, they can still go up at any point in time and use those passes through March. And the pass isn't cheap at all, but it does include rentals and lessons. So if you're going to go up to Gunstock on your own time, or if you're going to get the rentals or the lessons, it's really a phenomenal deal.
The winter season is coming to a close, and with it, the cold and snow. Spring and summer lovers, you don't need to wait much longer. This is Seth, WHTV.
From what I heard, Winnicott seemed to enjoy the winter season. I can't figure out why. I mean, having a nor'easter each week, shoveling snow off your car in the freezing cold, and yeah, black ice.
Well, it sounds like you'll be thrilled about our next story from Molly.
On Saturday, February 11th, the Special Olympics New Hampshire held their annual Penguin Plunge. The Plunge is a fundraising event with proceeds going to the Special Olympics of New Hampshire. In order to participate, volunteers must raise at least $250 each. Volunteers had a theme for their outfits as well, party like it's 1999. Special education teacher Brandon Albert organized Winnicott's team this year alongside athletic director Aaron Aboud. Mr. Albert says that this year's team raised around $7,000. The NH Special Olympics also provided information and funding to Winnicott for starting unified teams. 30% of the money raised by each school goes back to it, so the fundraiser is great not only for the Special Olympics but for the unified sports teams as well.
We had just put out a memo on announcements that anybody that wanted to be involved just needed to sign up and then come and talk to either Mr. Aboud or myself to get more information. I think, like I said, next year I think we will do a little more active recruiting to get more kids to be involved.
Before the actual plunging, there was food, drinks, and a costume contest at the casino ballroom. Each team went on stage to show their crowd their outfits and dance moves. Waves A and B were called down to the beach and plunged. Volunteers waited on the sand to pass out towels. Afterwards, there was more food, and the winners of several prizes were announced in the ballroom. Winnicott's team won 3rd place in the costume contest, as well as 3rd place for most money raised per person. Mr. Aboud says that last year's event wasn't as large, but he's excited to see the event grow.
I loved doing the plunge. It was a great experience. Like I said, hopefully we can get even more students and faculty involved in this next year.
Congratulations to those who participated, and thank you to everyone who donated. This is Molly Frost for WHTV.
I got cold just watching that. Pretty cool that Molly jumped in.
I always love seeing the community come together to fight for a good cause.
Our next story may not be about winter related, but it is focused on the community. Last weekend, the Interact Club and Sarah Edgar from the art department hosted its annual Empty Bowls Luncheon. This event invited members of the community to come and buy a bowl of soup in one-of-a-kind ceramic bowls made by faculty and students. Food was supplied by many local restaurants as well as from students in the decision classes here at Winnicott. This charity event raises money for local food bank organizations, and this year there are about 200 bowls available for purchase. More than $1,800 were raised to fight hunger in the Seacoast area.
How is't thou so heartwarming?
Why are you talking like that?
For our next story, of course.
Let's see what this is all about.
The freshman class had a very special Valentine's Day treat this year. On February 14th, the freshman English department got to see a showing of Romeo and Juliet right here in our very own auditorium. The freshman English classes began their Shakespeare unit early on and tried to. And on February 14th, they got to see a showing of Romeo and Juliet. The show was put on by Shakespeare and Company, who are currently doing a Northeast regional tour of different Shakespearean plays. Mrs. Borden, who organized the event for the class, had this to say.
When I got an email earlier this year about traveling theater troupe that was going to do Romeo and Juliet live in person here, I jumped on the opportunity. I started emailing the person that I got the flyer from. I got it approved by Mr. McGowan, and I was like, let's go for it. For a lot of these kids, probably most of them, it could very well be their first time ever seeing live theater, so I was really excited for that for them. To my knowledge, we haven't had a full live play brought to Winnicott before. It could be, but I've certainly never been part of something like that before. And when I look at our freshmen who, you know, when COVID hit, they were, gosh, I can't do the math. They were what, 6th grade when that happened? You know, they probably haven't had many of those opportunities. I know some of our upperclassmen haven't had those opportunities, so I just thought that this was such a really unique chance to have them watch a full live theater show. I could not be more proud of the class of 2026. They were so good. I got up and spoke to them before we started, kind of reminded them what theater etiquette was, but this particular troupe wanted interactions from the kids. So this particular rendition of Romeo and Juliet was quite funny, and the kids reacted so appropriately. You know, in Romeo and Juliet, they kiss for the first time, and the whole crowd is like, oh, it was really cute. And because we had it on Valentine's Day, and yes, I did do that on purpose, in the crowd, you could tell there are a couple of couples that were enjoying the play together.
After their performance, there was a Q&A between students and actors. It seems as though the event was a big hit among the freshmen, and Mrs. Borden looks forward to continuing this event in upcoming years. For WHTV, this is Haley Lewis and Sophia Lanphier.
Wow, the freshmen have had it really lucky this year with the play.
Yeah, remember our freshman year in quarantine?
I try not to. Staying on the theatrical side of things, our next story is about the recent performance of The Little Shop of Horrors. This past weekend, the drama students put on 3 shows before the curtain went up last Friday. Sophia spoke to some of the cast as they prepared for opening weekend.
It's really fun. It's really fun. It's a fun show. We're able to be characters who are funny and zany, and we're able to just have a lot of fun with it. It's great to sing. It's great to act, and there's a lot of great moments in it.
My favorite part of working on the Little Shop set so far has been just kind of being able to hang out with all of my friends in a place where we all are like-minded and have the same goals. It's really fun.
And she says that the tech crew has been working on the production since Christmas break. When asked about how they would describe the show to somebody who has never seen it, the actors had this to say.
A little orphan boy working at a flower shop has a crush on this girl and takes care of this interesting plant that is supposed to help him have all his dreams come true, but it comes at a price.
Well, I'd describe the plot of the show itself as a giant plant eats people. And I'd describe the behind the scenes as a giant plant named Mud2 eats people.
This year the show had 3 directors, Mr. Moore and Mrs. Page, who co-directed for the first time, and Juliana Falzerano, who was a first-time student director and also assisted with choreography. Mr. Moore, who has been directing the plays here for 7 years and the musicals for 8, was excited to share the workload with someone as positive, hardworking, and organized as Mrs. Page.
I have a background in theater, having done theater my whole life since I was a little kid, all the way through college, and I remember one time I had mentioned to him, you know, if you're ever needing help or want somebody to work with on a show or something like that, I think I'd mentioned, like, I love theater. And so then when he approached me asking if I wanted to do this, I was ecstatic. Coming into the theater and music department, it's been great. It definitely is a joyful place. There's lots of creativity, there are lots of laughs, as well as seriousness.
For WHTV, this is Sophia Lanphier.
We hope you enjoyed this episode and have a great start to your spring when it kind of...
We'll see you next week. Oh. That's going in.